This is coming from the New York Post, and it's about a former Bush official has said that they built a $21 trillion underground secret city, or there's multiple secret cities for the rich and elite to go in case of a near extinction event, and that they've been building this from like 1998 to 2015. A former housing official who worked under President George H.W. Bush has made an astonishing claim that the U.S. government spent years funneling money into the creation of a secret underground city where the rich and powerful can shelter in the event of a near extinction event. Catherine Austin Fitts, who served as the Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development for Housing between 1889 and 1990, made the shocking allegations during an appearance on former Fox News host Tucker Carlson's podcast, although there is no concrete evidence to support her claims. Fitts, 74, who was originally from Philadelphia, cited research by Michigan State University economist Mark Skidmore, who released a report in 2017 stating that he and a team of scholars had uncovered $21 trillion in unauthorized spending in the Departments of Defense and Housing and Urban Development for the years 1998 to 2015. At the time, Skidmore noted that he first began investigating the unreported spending after he heard Fitts refer to a report which indicated the Army had $6.5 trillion in unsupported adjustments or spending in fiscal 2015. Given the Army's $122 billion budget, that meant unsupported adjustments were 54 times spending authorized by Congress. Typically, such adjustments in public budgets are only a small fraction of authorized spending, the report noted. Initially, Skidmore said he thought Fitts had made a mistake, stating that he assured she had meant to say 6.5 billion, not trillion. So I found the report myself, and sure enough, it was 6.5 trillion, he said. According to Fitts, who worked as an investment banker before joining Bush's administration, that money was used to fund the development of what she described as an underground base, city infrastructure, and transportation system, which had been kept hidden from the public. One of the things I've looked at in the process of looking at where all the money is going is the underground base, city infrastructure, and transportation system that's been built, she said. We have built an extraordinary number of underground bases and supposedly transportation systems. He told Carlson that he spent 2 years researching where the $21 trillion had gone, alleging that there are 170 secret facilities in the U.S. alone.
Oh, yeah.
Explaining that she and a team of investigators combed through all the data and all the allegations on underground bases in order to make a guess as to how many might exist. Additionally, Fitts alleged that several of these bases are located beneath oceans, not just underground.
I think that there's so much honeycomb beneath our country that they've forgotten about a lot of. Like, I bet they're just digging away all the time.
Yeah, I think you're right. I have this post that I had from it was from a while ago. It was about the deep underground military bases, the D.U.M.B bases. But it was pretty interesting.
What's that guy's name? Not Phil Schneider. Unless it is Phil Schneider. What's the guy who shot aliens?
Wasn't it Phil Schneider? I forgot. I still have to get deep into that.
It was Phil Schneider. Let me look it up real quick before I speak on his name.
Phil Schneider, yes. This post is an overview of deep underground military bases. As with my other post, I highly encourage you to research further yourself. An understanding of what mind control programming is and how it works is necessary for understanding much of this. All citation sources and links are at the end. So this is a Reddit post that I saved a while ago that's pretty interesting. These above top secret deep level underground bases are used for trauma-based mind control / monarch programming, genetic and other human experimentation, military / Illuminati / New World Order technology development and storage, including advanced weapons and anti-gravity crafts. The highest level scientific and paranormal experiments, military abductions, trafficking, torture, breeding programs, and other terrible things. There exists a huge network of maglev tube shuttle connections under the United States, extending into a global system of tunnels and underground bases / cities. Some photos of the machines used for digging here. And if you click on it, you can see like these large boring tunnel type devices, much like if you've ever seen the Incredibles movie and the Underminer, He has like this giant boring device. That's basically what they use. They are basically whole cities underground. They are all between 2.66 and 4.25 cubic miles in size. They have laser drilling machines that can drill a tunnel 7 miles long in one day. I was involved in building an addition to the deep underground military base at Dulce, which is probably the deepest base. Goes down 7 levels and over 2.5 miles deep. I helped haul out more than 13 deep underground military bases in the United States. Phil Schneider. So this guy, Fritz Springmeyer, said, I discovered that not only was our government focused on building deep secret underground cities, but the Illuminati families were also. Furthermore, they were using technology that the public was unaware existed. The idea behind it all was to create safe and secret places for themselves. Witnesses have described elevators going miles down, super fast trains, backup government agencies, genetic experiments, warehouses of stockpiled materials, and a non-human-human hybrid project. But what continues to haunt me was the look one eyewitness gave me when he said, Fritz, you don't have a clue what is going on is beyond all you have thought of. And after that, there was a stone-faced mask as his countenance. A stone-faced mask on his countenance. These underground bases are funded by the black budget and non-appropriated funds. Intelligence agencies run the global drug trade. Where's this money coming from? It's not coming from our regular black op budget. It's coming from the illegal sale of drugs in the United States. There's at least, by conservative estimates, $250 billion to $500 billion of illegal drugs just sold in the United States. That goes directly into underground budgets, and 90 to 95% goes to the D.U.M.Bs, deep underground military bases, Phil Schneider said. Phil Schneider also said the Black Ops budget is $500 billion per year, a quarter of the U.S. gross national product. Black budget is not monitored by Congress. It's an independent taxing body, but is mainly financed by drug operations by the CIA, NSA, and the Drug Enforcement Administration. Also the FBI more recently. An FBI man tried to tell the public about this and was murdered in January 1995. I want to look that up too. Much of this Black Ops drug money is being used to fund projects classified above top secret. These projects include the building and maintaining of deep-level underground bases such as Chrysanthemum, underground biogenetics facility in Dulce, New Mexico, Pine Gap in Australia, Brecon Beacons in Wales, Snowy Mountains in Australia, Nyala Ridge in Africa, west of Kindu in Africa, next to the Libyan border in Egypt, Mount Blanc in Switzerland, Narvik in Scandinavia, Gotland Island in Sweden. There are at least 1,400 of these D.U.M.Bs worldwide, 131 in the U.S., with 2 underground bases being built per year in the U.S. at the moment. The average depth of the bases are 4.25 miles underground, some shallower and some deeper. The bases are on average the size of a medium-sized city. Each D.U.M.B costs between $17 and $26 billion to build, which is funded by the MI6 CIA drug money. A nuclear-powered drill is used to dig underground. This drill goes through a rock at a tremendous rate and literally melts the rock away to form smooth glass-like surface around the edges of the tunnels. Project Mannequin was started in 1972 and is still being run from a 6-level underground facility beneath the small town of Peasmore in Berkshire, a few miles from where I grew up. Also, the CLC-1 base under Westminster in London and connected to a large base under Parliament, the Monsoon-1 facility under RAF Lakenheath, 90 miles north of London, and the underground facility below the Porton Down BioWare facility in Wiltshire. This underground base is so secret that the local residents of Peasmore are not even aware it exists. This NSA facility, known in intelligence circles as the AL/499 base, is located 200 feet below the village. There are entrances to the facility at Greenham Common, known as Bravo Entrance, which is now sealed off, Watchfield Military Science College, Delta Entrance, Harwell Laboratories in Oxfordshire. There are entrances to the base in Lambourne, Welford, and Berkshire. The underground base at Lambourne is the Area 51 of the UK, with many exotic anti-gravity craft stored there. James Casbolt said all of that. Many of these underground facilities are equipped with advanced technology used to program slave soldiers and super soldiers, all Black Ops/Delta, etc. Soldiers are very abused and programmed. High-tech programming is used along with the blood rituals and extreme mind-splitting traumas utilizing trip seats, psychological program alteration units, modified sensory deprivation tanks, advanced virtual reality, and holograms. Harmonics, various surgical and medical alterations, implants, microchips, brainwave scanning. Machines are used to program in specific beliefs and responses, and a number of other sophisticated electronic hardware-based hypnosis machines. One of the largest research centers for experimental programming is on the west coast of the United States. The large research facilities underground and is combined with sophisticated military lab research. Another is in East Berlin, and another is in Prague in Europe, and yet another one exists in Rome. Zavali said that. And Fiona Barnett says this: my training was completed in the USA at age 14 years by Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino in a special laboratory established at Dulce Underground Base. Delta training including the weaponization of psychic ability or psychic warfare training. That almost mimics what that guy was saying about how him and Obama were time travelers. The Trapdoor Genetics Facility below SAS Training Ground in Brecon Beacons. You can consider it the UK version of the Dulce Base in New Mexico. The man who showed me around the facility at Brecon in 2006 told me the following: when you were traumatized, you develop intuitive abilities, James Casball said. Fiona Barnett also said, during my trip to the USA at age 6, I was also transported to Dulce, home of the Frankenstein lab purpose-built for Colonel Luis Jolien West, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino, and John W. Jittinger, who were trained directly by Operation Paperclip's most clandestine recruit, Joseph Mengele, who we now know survived the war, because they just released papers that he went to Argentina after World War II, allegedly. If I'm not mistaken, Argentina just released files about it. I'll get back to everybody on that one, though. Dulce lab technicians strapped my naked body to a chair, plastered large electrode pads to my back and limbs, and attached a Medusa mass of EEG electrodes to my head. My brain splits were color-labeled: green, blue, red, white, yellow for each color. Dr. West was codenamed Dr. White. He held a large sheet of colored cards in my face while a computer repeated the name of the color: red, 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 red. I was simultaneously electrocuted until my senses were overwhelmed and I surrendered my will to the insertion of their instruction. They stopped torturing me once they recognized the desired brainwave pattern on their monitors. The mind control aspects of my abuse mainly occurred at laboratories in Sydney University, Holsworthy Army Base, and Lucas Heights Nuclear Reactor in Pine Gap. Holsworthy Army Base sits adjacent to Lucas Heights Nuclear Reactor, now called ANSTO, Australian Nuclear Science and Technology Organization. Lucas Heights Nuclear Reactor is a 20-story underground research facility that was connected via underground tunnel to another 7-story underground research facility at Holsworthy Army Base. Data and material collected from these labs were delivered to Australia's main CIA/US military underground facility at Pine Gap. Holsworthy and Lucas Heights both featured underground rooms dedicated to Luciferian ritual and the worship of their ancient deity Dagon. All top Australian military brass were Luciferians. Most Sydney University staff were Luciferians. Britt Springmeyer and Cisco Wheeler. Mount Shasta, California underground military facilities around this huge mountain in Lake Shasta are putting out monarch programming that makes people think they are in communication with aliens. The facility is for torturing and reprogramming captured runaway monarch slaves. People are brought into the area via helicopter, plane, or flying saucer. The site is probably the largest mind control programming center. It is a remote wooded area. It is heavily guarded, has fences, and a large contingent of black helicopters. Mount Shasta is equipped with state-of-the-art high-tech programming equipment. Mind-controlled slaves who are soldiers are programmed and trained at the Mount Shasta facility. Alan Shefflin and Edward Option, they wrote, the mind manipulator is based on the Freedom of Information release of 10,000 pages of the CIA MK-Ultra relation documents. A memorandum dated January 14, 1953, titled Interrogation Technique states, if the services of Major Louis J. West, U.S. Air Force, a trained hypnotist, can be obtained and another man deleted, well-grounded in conventional psychological interrogation and polygraph techniques, and the services of Lieutenant Colonel deleted, a well-balanced interrogation research center could be established in an especially selected location. 456 Alan Shefflin and Edward Opton, the mind manipulators. That's what they said. This is by Fiona Barnett. Eyes Wide Open, Chapter 23, MK Delta Child Soldier. I am certain one of the names deleted from this document was Lieutenant Michael Aquino. The other omitted name could have been John C. Lilly, but I believe it was John W. Gittinger. In any case, all three collaborated with Major Lewis West in the Interrogation Research Center described in the proposal for MK Ultra Subproject 43. For context, John C. Lilly is the guy that was giving LSD to dolphins and worked with the CIA on a bunch of shit. A unique laboratory must be organized and constructed. This laboratory will include a special chamber in which all psychologically significant aspects of the environment can be controlled. This chamber will contain, among other things, a broad-spectrum polygraph for simultaneous recordings of a variety of psychophysiological reactions of the individual being studied. In this setting, the various hypnotic, pharmacologic, and sensory environmental variables will be manipulated in a controlled fashion, and quantitative continuous recording of the reactions of the experimental subject will be made. A Frankenstein laboratory fitting this description was built within an underground military base located near Dulce, New Mexico. Interrogation means torture. The document refers to using drugs, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, and torture on kids. The Dulce laboratory contained an upright version of John C. Lilly's sensory deprivation tank. During the 50s, the CIA funded John Lilly's development of the sensory deprivation tank and his research into brainwaves and altered states of consciousness. In his book, Programming and Metaprogramming in the Human Biocomputer, Lilly blatantly explained how children are programmed using LSD, his sensory deprivation tank, and implicit learning via classical and operant conditioning. Joseph Mengele laid my core programming during that Cranberg trip in a lab beneath the U.S. Embassy. The embassy was staffed with CIA pet and hosted via pet parties, we'll call them. Like nearby Parliament House, a tunnel system existed beneath the U.S. Embassy in which some of my abuse occurred. I was left naked and alone in a cage built into the side of a dark underground cave. I lost track of time, but might have been left there for 3 days. I was subsequently tortured in a lab by Mengele and his assistants. Focus 15 of the Gateway process involved transcending our space-time continuum to time travel into the subject's past, while Focus 21 entails traveling into the future. I know from experience that Focus 15 formed the basis of Project Looking Glass, which involves peering into history. Looking Glass was conducted at the Dulce lab in the mid-80s. Alice Delta soldiers were hooked up to machinery including brain scans attached to computer monitors, which displayed images transformed from the subject's neural activity. A rudimentary version of Looking Glass technology was replicated in an experiment conducted 20 years ago at the University of California. Berkeley scientists recorded signals from the brain of a cat while it watched movie scenes, then reconstructed the recorded signals into images which they displayed on a computer monitor. The recorded images were fuzzy but recognizable versions of the movie scenes the cats watched. I've literally actually heard about that happening. That's like a thing that happened back in the day, like a Berkeley study. Like that wasn't just like something that she was just like pulling out of her ass of like, this was a secret project. Like that was actually like a recorded thing. Many of these military bases are also used for rituals and sacrifices. Mornington Crescent, that London Underground tube station, which has been closed since whenever, contains the entrances to British intelligence tunnels to the Illuminati headquarters. This is where they all go to perform their satanic rites, not just old World War II secret bunkers. There's also a tunnel under the Thames from MI6 to the House of Parliament. A whole underground network that not too many people know about. Comes from an ex-MI6 guy. He also said, underneath the Royal Observatory upon Greenwich Hill, there is a large military base accessible by a trapdoor within the observatory, with a Queen Anne's colonnaded house next door to Queen Anne's garden. People have been abducted, tortured, murdered down there for many decades now, and upon Prince Philip's orders, not to mention. sacrifice that goes down there. You know what that made me think of? They mentioned the observatory. There's a theory that the place in Pasadena, near where all the fires started, that observatory is actually Allie Carter. This chick actually came out and said that she was like trafficked there by Diddy, and that there's like a secret underground base there, and like an underground city that connects like all these underground cities in like LA, and that you can get there from that observatory. But she said that it was like a part of like Diddy parties and stuff like that, as they would go like down into like this base and stuff like that. There's also underneath the Playboy Mansion, there's like a secret tunnel too that you can get to. Like I forgot where it was, but this was mentioned around that same time that popped up. It's I think it connects Jack Nicholson's house. It connects like a few people actually. But it's like a secret underground Playboy tunnel. Crazy.
Isn't that one like a fact?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a fact.
That's not just a theory. That's a fact.
Yeah, that's like a real thing that happened. But what's funny is, weren't we reading about like how Hugh Hefner bought the Playboy Mansion because like supposedly it like belonged to like some secret government or like occult guys or something like that back in the day?
I've heard of that. That's cool.
Well, no, we talked about that on here.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, we did. It was a thing we mentioned like briefly. I'll have to look more into that.